Hello everybody and good evening. Welcome to Texas Motor Speedway for the latest round of the Oak House Racing ARCA Championship. We are just 3 rounds away from the end of our season and got a mile and a half to kick this section off, if you like. Last couple of weeks it's been all about the high speeds of Talladega, or 2 weeks ago, the high speeds of Talladega, and last week the lower speeds, the short track of Richmond. But the mile and a halves have returned. The intermediate circuits will end our season, and we've still got a close battle in the championship as well between arguably 5 drivers. Myself, Ian O'Leary, and Tim Biggles alongside me for this round of the championship, taking you through to the end of our season here, all the way through to Charlotte on the 14th of December. Good to have you alongside me for this one. Biggles, Texas Motor Speedway for 134 laps tonight. It's notable, I think, that this kicks off the final part of the season, which is, again, notably 3 intermediate racetracks back-to-back.
Yeah, welcome, Ewan, and welcoming to this Oak House Racing ARCA Championship. I'll be looking forward to. I know you've been for a couple of races here before that, but this is my first time to see these gladiators navigate their way around any track, and let alone, of course, here in the heart of Texas. We've got some motor racing, as you mentioned. So tonight, of course, 200 miles at 65% fuel capacity, 4 sets of tyres. And if you get a couple of dings, my friend, well, you got one fast repair up your sleeve.
Yep, and that will likely be used across the day for those who are involved in the incidents and accidents that may well happen at some point. In the points, White Youngblood is leading now by just over 100 points, but my goodness, is it close behind. 15 points separate the next 4 drivers. They've all 4 of them got to try and get somehow closer to the series leader, the points leader, who's been there for a long time now in this series. Andrew Floyd, Jason McCook, Ryan Cronister and Elliot Kandra, the last drivers really who can get involved. And by the way, at that distance they can mathematically overtake Youngblood. They just need enough drivers to be in the races, and they need to be a bit closer, therefore, by the final race in Kansas in 2 weeks' time. Jason Truckee is then next ahead of John Edwards, James Burns, Matthew Kleckler, Brian Easter. All of those 5 separated by just 81 as well. Very, very close gaps, although the groups themselves are separated by quite a margin. There are some small gaps within those groups. No playoffs in this series, of course, and that's for the best, I would say, in just a 10-race calendar like this one. But it's never the nice place to be. Championship leader going into the last 3 rounds by just over 100 points. You know you're the one with the target on your back.
Yeah, don't you? Some drivers kind of like that one. Other drivers are like him, India, that really like the pressure. It's always a difficult one to see at the end of the day, but that is the situation as the drivers are out currently at the moment on the qualifying there. I wanted to check the weather conditions as well too, to see how that track temperature is doing at the moment, because we will be going into a evening race at the moment as the sun's setting here in Texas.
Yeah, just 19 degrees Celsius though on the racetrack only now. Although that's air temperature, sorry. 66 Fahrenheit. Oh no, that is track temperature, sorry. So, well, it doesn't really make much of a difference. There's not a big gap between air and track temperature, but anyway, that is 19 Celsius, 66 Fahrenheit, and as I say, we're going to be going into the night, so it's not actually going to deviate too much from there. Zach Baker moves up to 7th place with his 2 lap times, still waiting for some lap times to go in here, and there's over 4 minutes for them to do it. Ryan Cronister hasn't yet set his times. Ricky Langton Jr. moves up into 13th with his qualifying time. So 26 in the field as of right now, but only 21 of those have actually set qualifying times. Waiting for Ryan Cronister here to get out onto the circuit and maybe set a lap time that puts him up towards the front. But as things stand, Elliot Kandra is the current leader, as ever in oval racing. Very, very close, but that 29.1 looks like it's going to be very, very difficult to beat.
Yeah, you need to get out there and set yourself a qualifying time if you want. Some drivers might be say, look, you know what, I'm happy to start at the back there. Biggest problem, of course, like anything, I've always said before with drivers that sometimes find themselves getting into wrecks a lot. And I always say that, well, there's an easy solution to that, my friend. Get yourself pole, start up the front there so you don't have to worry too much about any of those wrecks, of course, unless that comes down to the green pit stops, green flag pit stops, and then, you know, you might find yourself end up being a bit of traffic and stuff like that. But That's all depending on the situation, of course, up to 65% fuel capacity. There's the fuel window estimation, anywhere between 36 and 38 laps. Now, that's obviously pending that that's all green flag running, Ewan. That flips it all upside down, doesn't it, when you get a couple of cautions?
Well, exactly, and I think that's going to make it especially interesting. And so that's a slightly overly adventurous estimation there, but I think it's going to be so interesting to see what they decide to do in those cautions, because that is not very many laps. You can knock off about 30 laps in 15 minutes around here, if not less, and so that's really not a very long time when you put it like that between cautions. So are you going to want to come in even just to top off on fuel every time so that you don't get caught out making a green flag pit stop? Or do you accept that at some point tonight there is going to be a green flag stop? I mean, at Richmond last week we did have some cautions, but we had some nice long green flag runs as well. Talladega is obviously a different kettle of fish every time anyway, but I think we're going to see a green flag run long enough tonight to necessitate green flag pit stops. And therefore, I'm very interested to see what they decide to do in the cautions, whether they just accept that or whether they top off on fuel just to make sure they push that green flag pit stop as far down the road as they possibly can.
There's Wyatt at the moment. They're just sitting in the pit lane. I'm not sure what he's waiting for. We got a little update at the moment from our race detail information. So the fuel window has been lowered. As you said, you called it, didn't you? Saying it was probably a little bit too high. And now it's been switched to route approximately around 30 laps, Ewan.
Yeah, we'll expect someone to go at more than 30 laps at some point tonight, I would guess. But 38 or so feels like it could be a little bit too far. 30 laps, by the way, dividing that into a 134-lap race. You can't do 30 laps in divided by 134. That will require you make 4 pit stops, and there are only 4 tyre sets down on pit lane for you. So you're not going to be wanting to use all of those every time. But you could do 34 laps each time, and that would get you to the end on 3 pit stops this afternoon. 2 pit stops rather. No, I was right the first time. 3 pit stops and 4 stints is what I mean. For 34 laps. So that might be what they're aiming for here, but to save 4 laps of fuel, yes and an oval, you'd say actually normally that's not too bad, but actually 4 laps in the space of 15 minutes could be quite, or 20 minutes if we're being exaggerating. That's going to be quite a lot to save, so maybe they'll have to accept that some pit stops tonight are going to be fuel only because of the restrictions in tyres. Yes,
exactly. Now I'm not sure. Well, with the track temperature conditions and stuff too, how punishing this track's going to be on those tyres depends on, I guess, where you're fighting and who you're fighting with as well at the situation. So thank you, everybody, also for tuning in. Make sure you do subscribe, of course, to the MotorMouth Broadcasting, as well as we're simultaneously broadcasting this as well. But hit the subscription, hit the thumbs up, the like if you're enjoying the race. You don't have to, of course, but it goes a long way with all of this fantastic racing community. Well, the grid is now official, Ewan.
It is, and we are ready to go. So, let's have a look at the starting grid. Ready for round 8 of the Oak House Racing ARCA Championship tonight. It's Elliot Kandra who is going to lead the field away. 5th in points coming into tonight. Will be making some big strides if he were to win. Luke Cormier alongside Jason McCook and Richard May, then starting an All-American rows from row 2. Then it's Carson Kenny and Matthew Kleckler. Zach Baker got up into 7th rather late in that qualifying session in front of the points leader Wyatt Youngblood. Then it's Jaden McGowan and Jackson Poll rounding out the top 10. Frank Marchese and John Edwards are on row 6. Ricky Langton Jr. is alongside Ryan Keyser as things stand, with Andrew Floyd and Jason Trockey on row 8. Wesley Beasley and George Kurafidis will be on row 9 ahead of James Loomis and Mike Stewart. These guys not quite setting representative times rather, with Mike Stewart and Brian Easter both over a second off the pole, and the non-times from Ryan Chronister, Chris Darkwood, Art Milne and Michael Cole and James Burns on the back row. So 26 in the field. Brian Easter and Chris Darkwood so far not on the grid, but they've got 30 seconds to do that yet before they actually roll off. Points leader down in 8th place. I would describe that normally as the danger zone for Wyatt Youngblood. We'll see how he gets on through these opening laps here as he tries to avoid incident and accident first and foremost.
Just waiting for the drivers to come down out of pit road at the moment. So last chances to make any changes that they wanted to. They'll be following that pace truck around. Let's check that weather conditions out now. Currently at the moment there we are, well, there it is. So 66 degree track temperature. There's the wind, 11 mile per hour, so a little windy there. The humidity. We're not going to have any chance of rain, of course. We don't have any rain tyres, unfortunately, for the ARCA series or any ovals at that point that I'm aware of. We'll see how it pans out. And in the chat there too, 54 needs to do better. 12 is not acceptable out there. Woof. Okay, so John Edwards has been called, unless you're talking about John or Frank there. 11th and 12th currently at the moment from A-Rock out there, 912.
Yeah,
punishing to the
Edwards
drivers.
is 12, so yeah, it's probably a call to Edwards. Slight joke, but anyway.
Yeah.
134 up on the board then, and we'll be very soon underway. As you mentioned earlier, this race starting at 5 p.m. So. It's not quite that dark yet, but it will get dark over the course of this day. And yeah, there you go. Time of day's just getting in towards the sunset. Although it doesn't look like there's been very much sun on this day. Looks like it's pretty gloomy actually, but you can see the lights already making a bit of an impression on the road. It's going to be a proper night race here in the ARCA Championship tonight. So let's see how we go as the drivers bring themselves towards the start-finish line. So far, only Chris Darkwood not taking the start here. Looks like we're going to get 25 starters tonight as the pace truck comes down pit lane. The latest round in the Oak House Racing ARCA Championship, live from Texas Motor Speedway. Green flag is in hand. Elliot Cantor brings them up towards that green, and we are racing for 200 miles in Texas.
Build up the speed. Somebody's going a little bit off track at a little bit of excursion early though. Ewan, but so far so good. We're still under green.
Yeah, was that McGowan maybe? One of the red cars on the inside there. He'd lost a few places off the start here, but Canberra leads the field ahead of McCook, and we're already under caution here. You mentioned it, and it's Wesley Beasley involved with John Edwards. It might have been with big smash up on the backstretch. Wesley Beasley involved with John Edwards. Wow. Michael Cole involved as well in 216. Well, that was coming, to be honest, from the very beginning here. If you don't get a good launch, then it sort of has ripple effects through the field, and I think that can be stemmed right the way back to the very start of this race.
Is this because of a forward-wide action early? That might be one of the reasons as to something has gone a little bit pearl-shaped here, my friend. There it is, as the contact.
Yeah, so it's contact for the 46 car on the outside with that yellow one initially, and then they spear down the racetrack towards those helpless oncomers. Thankfully, only a couple made contact with them, but see this again here. Just watch the yellow car on the outside here. The 46 just not quite giving the... Well, they're not giving each other the room, really. They both had space to move there. The 46 could have moved lower. The 10 could have moved higher, but neither did. And it causes our first caution of the night.
There it is. At the chat as well too. Ewan, just having a bit of a read there. So 4 cars to be involved heading down pit road, getting. Remember, they do have one of those fast repairs that are available, but do you necessarily want to use it so early in the race? If you could chip out those repairs and you don't go too many laps down, you might just want to save it for later, because you can always have another big wreck at the end, and if you've already used it, well, with a couple more laps to go towards the end of the race, you're not going to be able to make up those laps. However, earlier, as you know, with a few more cautions out there, you could probably get a lot of those repairs chipped out and you're back into it.
Yeah, it is a good idea to try and do that without using your fast repair early. And Texas is one of those places where you might be able to do that. I mean, last lap under caution was just over 1:20. You're not going to be able to actually do 1:20 stationary on the pit lane, doing those repairs, but you might be able to get nearly a minute done. And, even if you have to do this next stage of the race with a little bit of damage, at some point in the future there's going to be another caution. And so you kind of think, well, I can survive on the lead lap with this amount of damage, and then I'll chalk the rest off a little bit later on. But it takes some bravery to do that, really, because you are banking on a caution in effect, which is some place you never want to get to.
Cautions breed cautions, but as you're aware of, so we'll see how it pans out when everybody gets going again.
I wonder whether that first one was down to the fact it's the start of the race rather than anything else. I mean, we saw, I think it was Edwards, who actually struggled to get away well on the inside. Saw him immediately go down to the low side there, spin up the rear tyres coming towards the green flag. You know, they're all going to learn from that. They're going to learn these restarts, and I think we're going to sort things out fairly soon, because something very similar happened in Richmond, actually. I think it was a lap 1 caution. It was a turn 1 caution, actually, and it gave way to actually a very long run second time round. So let's see what happens here. So, nice truck with its lights off, and Elliot Candro will very soon have to execute another start, effectively. Although, of course, a restart, as this will be. There's still everybody in the field, which is good to see. Not sure faster pairs were used to cross the board. Ryan Keyser is doing what we were suggesting and taking minutes of repair at a time, and has now rejoined at the back of the field. But all 25 have managed to stay on the lead lap, and that might just help them out that little bit in the restart here. So, on lap 1 caution so far. Let's see how we go as this race gets back to green. Elliot Candra into the restart zone, and we're back under green in Texas.
We build up speed, build up speed, build up speed again. Too crazy just yet, especially when those temperatures are a little colder there in your tyres. They've got to get up there. That's what it's all about. Slow and steady sometimes does win the race, Ewan.
Absolutely, especially on the beginnings here as you're getting up to speed. A squeeze on the outside there as a first shaping of a 3-wide moment, but out front Candra leads nicely in front of Kenny McCook, May and Youngblood. Right, Youngblood's already made up 3 positions on this start and restart, which is a very good start indeed for the championship leader.
Fastest man on the track right here. Thinking about it on the inside there for Youngblood. It's going to go on the outside. I think that's there, Richard May. Yes, it is on the inside actually line there. So Wyatt going around the outside. He's got Chase McCook there and Kenny up the road there for passing the double K as Elliot's gone up the road there by about almost 7 tenths now.
Yeah, he's getting away, and it's being helped now by this battle for second position between Kenny and Youngblood. May on the inside line here for 4th position as well, and that seems to be the place to be. That low line so far seems to be prevailing through these turns. Oh, I'm not sure whether it was the angle or whether they were really close to making contact there, the two of them, but Youngblood still hanging it out on the outside there.
This is what we want to see, some nice green flag racing. Now that everybody's up into full speed. There's your 00, the 14 and the 30 all bunched up together. And how about that one? Chase McCook up on the inside. There's a big careful out there for Wyatt, managing to stick up the inside there as well too, but realises he's running out of track. Almost got into him. Fantastic racing.
Yeah, Youngblood now going to be on the outside of McCook here through 3 and 4. He's going to try and keep it tight if he possibly can through the turns. And now on to through the tri-oval, quad oval as it is here, and over the line. Still not quite in front. He's finding it a little bit difficult to make progress, although he undoubtedly has done so far in this race.
We can see the lights are all on the track, thankfully. Our racing did fix a lot of that. If I remember before some of the updates, it was tracking crazy dark. At least we can see something at the moment.
Candra still out front, by the way, not especially extending a lead here. Kenny and Youngblood still battling in behind here, but Youngblood is finally working his way through here, and he's making good progress. Oh, close. Chaser McCook wanted to follow through, but he just didn't have that entry curve quite right, and nearly went straight into the double 2 there. And on the inside, 3 wide from May.
Wow. Oh, that's shutting the door early on. You've got to have a lot of faith in these drivers, aren't you? There's a bit of door banging, there's a bit of trading paints. That's what we like to see. as long as you go parallel to the drivers and not for the front pedal or the rear. Otherwise, you'll be turning and going to our second caution of the night. But so far, so good. 11 of 134. 124 to go. Remember about those fuel situation, a 65% tank.
Yeah, maybe even a third of the way through a tank already with 10 laps complete. But look at White Youngblood here. He is very close in behind Elliot Kandra very suddenly. And he gets a run off for 4. Here he comes through the quad oval in towards the start-finish line. Does he go for the move into 1? No. Just backs away a little bit, but Kandra's entering quite high. And I think he's going to be happy to let White Youngblood lead, although maybe not. He's just running his own line there on the high side.
Very racing, a little bit of overtaking and shuffled in the midfield as well too. A couple of these drivers, you've got to give it up to George here in the number 10. He's up 9 places running back just there, as you can see. Riding on board currently at the moment, with the man's now up 8 places, as he's got Luke on the inside there, the Canadian driver, trying to hold on to a solid P9 currently at the moment. This is a midfield.
Behind the wall. And a switch to the inside there from Cormier, I think it is. Dives, and look at this. 3 wide, nearly off for 4. This is where it gets tight, but they're going to manage it. Surely not 4 wide through the quad oval. That would be a bad idea, but look at this. 3 wide they go. Kirafides, Marchese and McGowan. Cormier is the one who's looking to try and make it 4 wide almost, but there's no space for that. And it's a bit of a miracle. They got through with 3 wide. Very well done from all of them.
Yeah, I've been doing a couple of Talladega races all week long there. You can barely go 4 wide in Talladega. I recommend doing it here. 3 wide at absolute best, but that's if you have a lot of confidence in the other drivers that are around you. That just takes a lot of racing experience. Of course, the side drivers will suck you in pretty quickly, and that wall is always ready to bite you.
Yeah, Talladega may be the only place in the NASCAR oval racing circuit where you could legitimately go 4 wide. Down the straights you maybe could here and through turn 1, but it's not really productive. Through on the inside there for Cormier as Kandra tries to respond. White Youngblood took this race lead. I thought Kandra was happy to let him do that and sit there in behind, but no. Kandra wants to get back through again and does.
And keep an eye out for Rich in the background. This is actually helping him. He can get a draft from either car at the moment. He can just go to the inside apron or the outside apron. Now they're going to tuck in single file. Nope. Richard says, I'm going for it.
He wants to capitalise on this momentum. But White Youngblood is very much losing here. And he does lose. Second place does White Youngblood. Then McCook and Kenny and Paul, actually. Jackson Pollard, all in this at the moment. A second and a half separated. Just shows how momentum's so important here. And at the moment, the points leader doesn't have it.
No, you can get that nice little toe. There's that fence that you're going to start seeing some drivers actually start scraping some paint onto that more and more as these tyres wear as well. But remember, only 4 sets of those tyres are available. Now, I'm not sure if that's 4 sets over the fence there, Ewan, or if it's a total of 4.
It's 4 over the fence.
4 over the fence. So, of course, you have to start with some tyres, otherwise you won't go anywhere.
Yes. You do always have to have a set on at that stage. It was, of course, for last week as well, as in 4 over the fence. So, plenty in there. If this goes green to a green flag pit stop, I would be using them, but I'm not sure if the caution came out now that I'd be in for fuel and tyres, maybe just fuel. It's what makes it fascinating about these short fuel runs, as May now goes for the lead.
Big shout out there. Come on, 88. Keep up the good work. It's Jackson at the moment in P6 up 4 places. He's not too far down from this battle. You might start seeing him in the pictures as they come down the back stretch. Richard May now thinking out. Elliot's led almost every single lap in this race so far, so Kandra hasn't just given it up that easy, but I think these drivers are all having a bit of a switcheroo to say who wants to try to steal P1 at the moment there from Kandra. Everybody that's attempted it so far haven't managed to lock it in. As you can see, Elliot's just happy to sit up on that high side and open up the inside field for them to open up an overtaking opportunity, but then he powers out of the corner because you have so much better exit speed from the high side.
Now Youngblood's going to try and take advantage. So May, after having the momentum in the last couple of moments, is now suddenly struggling with no momentum. And this is what I'm talking about. This is how it ebbs and flows in Texas. Looking to the inside. He'll have to go outside, will Youngblood, but Canderson was taking his line away from him. Just that dirty air up in front, and McCook's going to be on our left-hand side here very soon, if you keep watching, and I'm not sure he's quite got there. He didn't quite get the run that he needed, and Youngblood gets the toe on the way towards 3 and 4, but he's still just about alongside McCook, and he wants to go through here. Undeterred by the dirty air in front of him, he moves in front of the points leader.
So far there it is, 22 of 134. Elliott is still the leader there with just that one caution. It's just 3 little laps, tiny little laps so far that we've had under the caution, which is fantastic race. That's what we like to see. Of course, cautions come out later on, can help out some of these drivers that had to go on the damage clock if they did not choose to use a fast repair. We've still got plenty of time to go. When would you expect, once again, well, we had that little estimation, didn't we, you and that of around 30 laps we're going to get on a tank, and guess what? We have a caution.
That's as we were starting to pose the question. Just as it would have started to be thinking about as well. There's a caution out there on the racetrack. Now, who is it for will be the questions. And we're not getting immediate answers, I must admit. I don't see anybody. Oh, no, I do now.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Mike Stewart is the one with a lot of damage here, and he's had that for quite some time.
Yeah. I wonder if this is just trying to get into pit road. Ooh.
Oh, that is very silly.
Before, wasn't it? Here it is.
Yeah, don't do that, by the way. Damaged cars of the world coming back to the pit lane.
No. So here he is. He's just cruising around like blah, 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 and then bang,
so
there it is.
Oh, and then spins. Oh, ouch.
Snaps the steering column. And just crab walking.
That front left tyre is, barely attached, to be honest. That's a lot of damage for Mike Stewart, and if he hasn't used his fast repair in the first caution, then I'd advise he uses it now.
Yeah.
So the pace truck will pick them up. Now the question is, do you take the first of those 4 sets of tyres? Because we're not, if you think about it, they've got 5 sets for the race. You want to split it into every 20% of the race, if you like, in my opinion. So I don't know what 20% of 134 is. It's about 12? No, that's not right.
20% of 100 is, as you know, 25. So, hang on, is that right?
Maybe it's about 25. Maybe it is time to come in and take 4 tyres, but let's see what they do here. It's certainly time to come in and take fuel, and so I'll be very surprised if anybody stays out at all. And there you see it. Everybody is in, and somebody actually making contact in the background. There is somebody staying out, and that's John Edwards, who, to be fair, came in under the first caution, but either way, that's quite a call to make. Now, watch these front guys here. They're all in the end boxes, of course. What are the tyres situations like? Are we seeing many go up on the jacks? Not the leader. Kandra did not go up on the jacks there. And there's fuel only from May and Youngblood. Kenny. Also Kirafidis as well. But Chaser McCook, rather, is the first driver to take all 4 tyres for the first time tonight.
Very interesting. So Edwards stayed out. Everybody else had come in on that lap 24 for our second caution of the night. And once again, as you mentioned, so it looked like, what, Kandra, May, Youngblood, Kenny. I can't pronounce George's last name on that one. You can probably help me out with that one.
Myself and Hamish, who were doing it before, had to be taught. It's Kirafidis.
Kirafidis, okay.
Yeah. We were getting it wrong as well. It's hard. So there we go. By the way, 1/5 of the race distance is 27 laps, pretty much. So we're almost there. I don't know whether this is the right time to be tempted, though, by a pit stop, because again, these fuel tanks are so short or small that you get the feeling that any semblance of a even mediocre green flag run coming up here will result in a caution that brings everybody down pit lane again. And surely it's at that stage you want to be taking all 4 tyres. And if the thing I fear for them is being caught out later at a caution where everybody else is taking tyres and they don't have a set to go to, and at the all-important end of the race, they'll get eaten alive if that is the scenario.
Very true. You should know you've done a billion broadcasts before in the past.
Well, it's true, but experience doesn't always help you sometimes. So, yeah, we'll see whether that turns out to be correct or not. Certainly no. I mean, I can't quite understand what John Edwards is doing here, unless he just wants to lead some laps, I suppose. But if we're seeing a fuel tank at 30 laps, he might be able to stretch it to 34, 35, 36 with these two cautions he's benefited from. But either way, surely that car's going to run out of fuel very, very soon.
Who needs gasoline? You could have extra. You could have some batteries or something like that in the back of that car, mate. It's going to be hydropower.
Oh, yeah, it could be. I'm sure it's like a road car that switches to electricity once it runs out of fuel. But let's hope so for his case, because I think he might do very soon. Into the restart zone, and what a launch that is from John Edwards. He's light on his feet, to be fair, with a light fuel tank, but he races away at the front here. There's Kendra and May and Youngblood, who didn't take tyres, by the way, the front three battle at the front. Watch for those tyre takers further back.
Yep, they're the ones that you've got to be looking at around McCook in P7 and see how much more grip he's going to have compared to the rest of the field.
I mean, the drop-off, to be fair, in the first stint wasn't too large. He's on the outside of Kenny, though. These two are four-tyre... Sorry, Kenny wasn't a four-tyre taker, rather. McCook is working his way through these guys on the outside line and does a good job of it for now. Oh, Edwards throws the block, and Kendra goes up high. He misses his line a little bit, and Wright Youngblood's alongside him.
Well, you get to look at it. Remember, these drivers still haven't... taking any tyres, so it's not the same set that they started this race with. So they're going to start getting a little loosey-goosey very soon. Got to be patient with them. That fence will come out closer and closer and closer per lap at this point. So keeping an eye currently at the moment. He's still in that P6 position. Hasn't sliced his way. Just made P5 at the moment, so he has started to make some gains. But look at those cars he has to try to overtake in order to move his way up to the front.
It's a bit of a block, a rolling block. If you contact there between McCook and Karafidis. He thought he was clear in the 14, but he wasn't, and he very nearly caused them both to get big damage on the way towards turn 3 there. You've got to listen to your spotter and make sure you're clear before trying to pull to the outside there and open out turn 3. Here comes Youngblood looking to open up the race lead with Elliot Kendra at the front.
Could be like just turn the radio off and said, I'm not listening to you, spotter. I'm on my own. Not a good idea, of course, in oval racing at all. Unlike regular track racing, it's a little bit different. You got cars to your left, you got cars to your right, you got cars absolutely everywhere. So you only got milliseconds separating yourself. Whoa! Little tank slapper in the fence out from Youngblood.
Be careful of those. He looks for the lead. Just over 100 laps to go, and hard in the wall in the background. Wow, that was a unbelievably hard hit for Brian Easter in the 5 car. That's one of the hardest hits I've ever seen.
I know.
Look at the suspension damage. Oh my goodness.
No, I hope he's all right. That's the beauty of virtual racing, of course, is that that would have been probably a 40G impact. We're going to go back and have a look at replay. So if you have any small children, please hide them away from the screen soon, because this is going to be nasty.
Oh, it's contact and attempting to save the slide the other way. And to be fair, on board it actually looks calmer than what it did from that camera angle we saw earlier.
Yeah, we'll go back and have a look at that one, of course, from the see what the contact was with. There, 88. And he does drastically try to save it. You saw frantically working on the wheel here. And at that point, you're just fighting the car too much. The car just completely wants to do opposite things to what you're trying to tell it to do. And then a hard lick into the fence, which didn't look as bad, did it, as from that? But we'll have a look again from external cameras here to have a look at full speed.
That's just that tiny bit of contact with the 88 there, but
that's
the consequences are massive.
Yeah, 0 from nearly 200 miles an hour to 0 in in a fraction of a second is not a good thing for a racing driver to experience.
Yeah, well, that was a large impact, and it has helped John Edwards go in to get his. Oh, he still hasn't been in. What's he doing? He's still out there. I'm pretty sure he'll need fuel quite soon. But anyway, not too many stops being made here. Andrew Floyd is in for a top off on fuel. Brian Easter obviously to take the fast repair. Ryan Keyser is back on the lead lap again. Wesley Beasley getting some repairs that are still ongoing down on the pit lane at the moment as well. But not everything is going on in or everyone, sorry, is going in pit lane here by any means.
No, not at all. John Edwards still staying out currently at the moment. Hasn't been down the pit road and still lap 1. Ewan. So I'll just try to boost my microphone a little bit out there. Please let us know if everything's okay. The car sounds might be a little bit up and down, I'd say. But we'll get that sorted out, no doubt, in the championship here, Ewan. Elliott has just, he's just wanting to control this race out front, hasn't he? He's been attacked a couple of times, but essentially has almost led, I'd have to say, every single lap. Most of them anyway. 29 of them to be exact. And that was only because Edwards, remember, John Edwards stayed out in that pit stop, so he had to yield that position to Edwards, but he's got that back pretty quickly.
So, as Kendra just goes almost below the line to weave around and restart this race. There'll be exactly 100 to go when we restart here, and just 10 laps after they most recently pitted, so still no tyres for them. And it was obvious, I think, that McCook and Marchese did hold an advantage when they put those new tyres on. I suspect they'll be leading on this green flag run at some point.
So on your timing tower, there it is. The pit lap currently at the moment. Everybody on lap 24. Lap 1 was Edwards that we mentioned out there. A couple of drivers went down there. Floyd went down to lap 32. Easter and Ryan and so forth as well too jumped back in there on lap 31 also. So we'll look out for them a little bit later to run deeper into our ARCA Championship race, as we are deeper in the championship season as well too, with 2 more races after this one, Ewan.
Indeed. Intermediates at Kansas and Charlotte to come. Into the restart zone again. And Elliott Kandra gets them back underway. Good response from the outside. Perhaps the best response from anyone on the outside so far. This time from points leader White Youngblood, but he's not able to stay in front, not even of Richard May in second, who slips in front. But McCook leads the charge from that group, and 4th place on backwards. The new tyre runners are still charging on.
Edwards is going to get eaten alive a little bit here. Still sticking with it. He's going to maybe that alternative strategy to save those tyres later on. And he'll have a fresh set of stickies waiting for him. Look how wide he's running at the moment too. I think he's just trying to not burn through those tyres as much by taking down the inside apron. Plus, he wouldn't have the grip out there either.
There is a point where you go far too high through there. Although for 3 and 4 it seems to be less of a thing. He's quite close to the wall there. Up to 3rd for McCook. He's got past Youngblood. Sliding off a 4. It's all happening on this restart here with less than 100 to go. The intensity already being ramped up tonight. Marchese just in behind as well. The tyres though not making a huge difference at this stage. I do suspect that any caution from this point onwards would get a lot of people down on pit lane, and it would get a lot of tyre takers, but that puts McCook and Marchese in a difficult scenario because they have already on their second set tonight, which is going to be very, very limiting for them. But for now, we stay green, and those guys continue to hold the advantage.
Almost got a quarter panel there. McCook. Youngblood. There's Frankie is there as well. And then you've got a little bit of a gap now, almost a 2-second gap down there to McGowan. As they go side by side at turn 4.
I'm sure there'll only be one winner here, even though there is the points leader on one side. Sometimes the tyres are not to his advantage, and indeed that is a scenario here. You can just see the way that they can hold a better line there on the slightly newer tyres. McCook just leaving turn 2 there slightly lower than May was in second position, so just almost demonstrating a tyre advantage here, but it's not massive. As you can see, it's absolutely not a massive advantage at all.
Despite the dirty air. Once again, another challenger. May's going to bring it here to Kendra. Kendra's not going to have any of this. He's not made it easy for anybody to get past him tonight. He's happy out front. He's controlling the race out front, Elliot Kendra is. So why not? If you're there, once again, you don't have to worry about anybody up the front there. You don't have to worry about mistakes from anybody else if you're leading the race. I haven't had a chance really of enough green flag running to bring out blue flags essentially, which I don't have, as you know, but the back markers have to get past. So smooth sailing for the 0-9.
It's been very smooth sailing so far. See, under challenge it was plenty of times, but not passed so often at all. So May, McCook, Marchese and Youngblood, the ones who are in line here at the front of the field. Still 23 on the lead lap here tonight in this race. A couple who are laps down, but still one or two in the pit lane long term here. So Beasley and Stewart, who we've already seen in trouble into the laps down as well. John Edwards now has to come into the pit lane under green flag conditions, and that's exactly what I was fearing for him. He's done well to get to lap 41, to be fair.
Yeah, that's the gamble you're taking, isn't it? An alternative strategy. You're just, hoping at some point that there'll be some sort of safety car that comes out so that they can jump into pit road. But of course, when it doesn't and you're going to run out of gasoline, you have to go in. A bit like a McLaren pit stop strategy, isn't it?
Very close. Yeah. Look at that. Between second and third, McCook and May.
High-five the driver through the window that close.
Yeah, pretty much. McCook not going to be able to have the legs to get properly alongside here at all. Oh, careful entering like that. You can shoot up the racetrack, and very nearly did. Straight into the side of May just there. But what I was going to say was the other unfortunate thing for Edwards is the fact that it takes another 15 laps for these guys to run out of fuel and the field to be cleansed. So that could be a real difficulty for him as well, given that he's really banking on a green flag run going a long way here.
Here comes Frankie. Frankie's going to be saying, relax, to chase McCook on the outside. I don't know if you'll get that one, actually. Oh, it's an odd song. So there he'll tuck in behind McCook. Richard May up 2 places, currently in P2. Elliott still commanding and leading this race. We have got a little bit of mid-pack action happening at the moment here with Loomis, Langton, James at the moment up 9, as well as Jason in the 46 Mustang. He's in P7 as well. He's up 9.
And always in these over races you get massive movers and shakers. Unfortunately the wrong way initially. Actually Luke Cormier was going down quite a lot of positions earlier, but look at that now in 6th place, only down 4, but when you think about the recovery from what that was outside the top 10, it's actually a decent run, only behind the front 5 who are stamping their authority on this race really. Tyres very much levelling off now as far as grip is concerned. McCook really can't get past Richard May as things stand. He's finding this very, very difficult. Marchese as well in 4th position, finding this quite difficult. The 3 and the 7 car meantime for 11th, finding this hard. That's Kleckler on the low side, who is 9th place in the point standings, by the way. Move on up and move past, and indeed has done, in towards turn 1.
He might not be the only one making a move up there as well too. McCook on May, with Frankie lurking in the background ready to mop up any mistakes that these drivers make. In fact, maybe even thinking about, let's go 3 wide for a bit of action. They get a bit of door banging, a bit of trading paints happening at the moment. Elliot's going to be watching all this from his rear view mirrors again, and they will start coming to this lap traffic as well too, Ewan. So where is those cars going to place themselves? I think that might be Ryan Kesler. That's going to be on the 28. Mustang. Wow,
Whoa.
There we go. We wanted 3 wide. I got it. I asked
Big
for it.
switch. Big switch to the inside. And a look, but no success from Marchese that time round. And it is difficult to execute, in fairness. And so you can understand, certainly, why he wouldn't have wanted to do that on the inside there. McCook's, though, still not able to find this way through on the inside line here on May. Maybe now, but he still can't quite hold the white line the way that he'd want to. And Marchese is going to continue to get runs like this, like we saw last lap.
Yeah, where's he going to go at the moment? Now the single file. Just keeping an eye on that pace of the 24th place. That's actually John Edwards. Oh, there's a little tank slapper into the fence. Give it a sparks. Don't have to worry about the helmet. It's a closed cockpit. It'll go on your windscreen for Frank. They are starting to catch. Looks like Edwards a little bit here. So where's Edwards going to go? How's this going to come into play? Especially if they're side by side here too.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to want to go 2 laps down here. He'll be fighting with Mike Stewart to try and be the first car 1 lap down, but he's 10 seconds behind Stewart as things stand, and he's really waiting for another 10 laps of green flag racing so that the rest of them come in for the first green flag pit stops of the night. And it would be exciting to watch if indeed we can see that tonight. As I said, they probably need, or probably could go to lap 60 nearly. They pitted last on lap 24, which is already 28 laps away, and we're estimating a 30-lap fuel tank. But as Edwards showed, if there's caution, which there already has been in this run, then you can go a little bit further. So 32 laps, the absolute minimum of what I expect, which would be another 4. But Edwards goes a lap down, another lap down, and now his strategy is massively relying on a caution. Otherwise, he is in big trouble.
I think it might have cost him a little bit too for Kendra. I think he was taking it very cautious to get past the lap car, and then that actually cost him a bit of time. As you can see, he's getting right up on the back there of the 09 again. So that's the thing about a little bit of traffic sometimes, isn't it? You catch it at the wrong place, and you might have to find that you had to chicken foot a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, chicken foot the term, just having to lift. All drivers don't like to lift, but if it means you're not going to get into a wreck, especially if you've got a lead of this race. You don't. Now he's got the mirrors full of the number 14.
And McCook found the last overtake difficult, so there's no reason to suggest that this one's going to be very easy, but he will apply the pressure immediately. And again, he's got a big predicament coming up here, McCook, about what he's going to do on tyres here. I think he might well take 4 if this goes to a green flag stop, maybe even if it doesn't, because we are getting towards the end of another, in fact we are at the end of another 5th of this race, which is what you need to separate this out to. Kandra leaves a lane open, as he so often has done while the leader, and look at that, McCook uses all of the space he's given, but it's still not enough. Kandra still holds the lead.
He's covering off those corners, isn't it? He's not going down the inside apron. He's forcing those other drivers to say, you go down there, because I know exactly what happens every time you go down there. You can't get the exit speed off the corner because the high side has the advantage, and he's played that card every single time. What you have to do at the moment is you're going to have to somehow pull that ace out of your sleeve there and throw your poker face and throw your cards down on the table there and try to see if you can bluff Kandra into some sort of mistake. Force him somewhere he doesn't want to be.
Yeah. Just want to check in with the points leader at the moment, just quickly before the race lead battle goes off again, because White Youngblood is in 7th place now. I thought initially he was hanging back to try and just alleviate some of the pressure on him there at the front of the group and not quite get involved, but I wonder whether he's gone out a bit too hard on his tyres, and we're seeing the points leader 5 seconds adrift now of the race lead.
That's very true at the moment. He's actually a little bit down from this pack at the moment, just lurking in the background. There are these two just getting past that lap car as well too of John Edwards. A little bit further back, nice little battle brewing, of course, there between 9th and 10th place. Starting to see a lot more overtakes in this race, so everybody's got settled in a little bit, getting used to those tyres. There's the track temperature out there at the moment there, Ewan. Well, 70.
Has he got up?
Pat. Wind's
somehow.
still there. Wind's still there. I mean, 11 mile per hour. Depends on which direction that's hitting, but going back up for this one. I think Chase is giving up that attack at the moment, so it's up for whether or not Frank wants to give it a shot there to try to steal that race lead away from Elliot Kendra.
Oh, he's dived that time and had to get on the brakes quite hard. He often gets that overlap, but as you said earlier, they've got to push him onto a line he doesn't want to be on. And that seems to be the high line for 3 and 4. Maybe Marchese is going to be given the license to go for this because McCook cannot, as things stand. Through 3 and 4, the two on newer tyres running together as we see a pit stop there. Burns already in, but we're seeing a pit stop right in front of the leaders as well. Maybe looking for a bit of an undercut here, so we're clearly getting into that window now. And to be fair, this is lap 36 of the stint for these guys.
I think Burns as well too was going to feel that he's probably going to lose a little bit much time allowing those leaders to come through anyway, so we just elected to go down a pit stop there and just get it out there. Carson Kenny goes in too. So here it is. Let's see whether or not that exit speed. No, it gets in and gets a nose ahead of him. So Frank currently up into P2. I think if you're McCook, you say, you know what, give it a shot. All right, I've been trying to get past Kendra for a whole chunk of laps now. It hasn't worked for me, so you give it a shot. We are seeing some more green flag pit stops. It looks like Luke's coming in there. There's Youngblood. You mentioned about those tyres. Matthew as well too. So when are these leaders coming in?
I can't be too far away for Elliot Kendra and the rest of them. And they've got to communicate this amongst themselves, otherwise they're going to be landing themselves in trouble there. You can use the apron to get on into pit lane, but you don't want to be drifting up too high because then you can make contact with those still on the racetrack. A look down the inside there from Marchese in towards 1 and 2. Kendra again just placing the car perfectly, but he moves up a little bit, and Marchese comes to the inside now. He's got his nose in front for the first time, and he's through. He's through for the first time. A change of lead has been behind them. McCook decides to forego this battle for the lead and come into the pit lane, and so do the two leaders. McCook goes in early. He goes to the apron early, but the two others... Oh, and he spins! He spins for the race lead. Marchese in the 55 car, trying to get down on pit lane. He spins and loses the lead.
Going a little bit too hard in there. You got to hit the anchors, of course, otherwise you get a speeding on pit lane violation. Didn't quite pan out for him, so that's going to drop him a few places. Elliot's got to get a nice, perfect pit stop here to get himself back out into the lead. Well, he will once Andrew Floyd takes a pit stop. Andrew Floyd now into the lead of this race.
Goodness me. The only driver able to continue on. That's because Floyd came in a little bit later, by the way, under a later caution. So, might be able to go, maybe not another 10 laps, but maybe 5. And lead some laps in the meantime, which of course you do get points for, so that's all worth it. And there's only 70 to go as we continue on this time round. Thankfully, though, everybody taking tyres this time, because that was a full green flag run there effectively, proper green flag pit stops. And now, you know, it's anyone's bet as far as the next pit stops are concerned.
Right. Ryan's going to want to stay out,
Oh,
I was going to
no,
say.
caution!
Ryan's going to want to stay out ahead of Floyd because otherwise he'll go a lap down as well too, but that's the caution that's out now. Not sure what the caution was for. Looks like James here, unfortunately.
And James Loomis it is. And we've got 2 cars on the lead lap. So this is going to be weird.
Yeah.
We've got 2 cars on the lead lap here. James Loomis, one of those who is laps down. Now then, what happened to the 36? Drifted up into the 00 and ends up getting involved in the crash that arguably he calls. There you go. There's a spin. The 00 also going all the way around. 00 is Carson Kenny, who skipped tyres under that most recent caution and has now taken them. So, did Floyd come in or not?
No. He stayed out.
Ow. So, he's not been past pit lane yet, I don't think. Is he?
No, they're both together. He's coming in now. So
here he is.
Right.
So everyone will get their chance back on the lead lap again. Everyone's going to get their wave round. Who's on the 1 lap down here. That will go all the way down to 18th. James Loomis he's going to get his lap back unless any of them decide to come in here, which would be nonsensical. But George Kurafidis is in. So is Jackson Pole and John Edwards. Those guys and Ryan Kieser, although he is already going to be let back on. So, they've got to get out in front of Floyd if they're pitting here. And anybody who does will be given the wave round right the way to the back of the field and back onto the lead lap again. So 2 cars on the lead lap is not going to last very long.
Taking tyres as well, too, though. You can see a couple of those cars going up on the jacks. Only fuel, it looks like. Some of the drivers. Edwards looks like fuel as well, too, for him. So, Floyd, when does he pop back out?
Still leading.
Yeah.
Kandra got the wave around, or the free pass, sorry. So he could have a free stop for a bit of fuel if he wanted it, but he was only in a few laps ago anyway. Everybody else, though, will be given the wave around when the lights go off on top of the pace car, and and Floyd and Kandra are going to come right to the front of the field here with all the guys who get a wave around stuck at the back. But there should be 16 cars on the lead lap once they're all way past the pace truck here.
How's that worked out brilliantly for Andrew Floyd? With that,
Yeah, well, he's leading.
you just couldn't. You can't always predict when a caution car's going to come out. You just hope that it comes out at the right place at the right time for you. It certainly did. Elliott's going to be like, all right, now. He finally did get overtaken for once in this race, as we saw earlier, just before he was heading down the pit lane anyway on their scheduled stops. But we'll see how happy he's going to be currently at the moment in that P2 position once they resort themselves all out.
So this is going to take quite some sorting out. And by the way, we're going to be officially halfway at the end of this lap. Are the lights off on the pace truck yet, or are we?
I don't think they've been recording the pace truck yet. Where's Elliott? I don't know who's.
Yeah, but they're never going to be at the front. The guy leading them around is going to be White Youngblood. There's the pace truck.
There it is.
Right. So they're all bit. But look at this.
Yep.
And I think they've actually manually added an extra lap here so that
they had to.
they can get all this sorted safely and normally. 17 cars. Sorry, I misspoke earlier. 17 cars will be on the lead lap. First one down will be Jackson Pole, who effectively put himself there because he pitted there for too long. Chasen McCook's going to be a lap down at the end of this. So's Frank Marchese, Michael Cole. So is Ricky Langton Jr. So McCook and Marchese, who were second and third for a long time in that run, are going to be a lap down here.
And I think Wesley as well too didn't have any fast repairs left because look at it's all dinged up at the moment there, and he's been there for 23 minutes. So I think he's actually out of the car currently at the moment too, Ewan. Otherwise, or sometimes happens to drivers, they accidentally forget to press the fast repair button, and it's too late when you're in pit lane, and you'd be sitting there, and that's so much damage to that car that he's not going to be able to get back out just to do one more lap to come back in and push that button to say, please repair my car. Magically, of course, with the pit crew. We've seen that before from drivers. It's easy. You're concentrating on trying to get your pit exit entry perfect, right? So you're not speeding and nailing it. And then you forget completely to push you about what you're going to do for your repairs.
I wonder whether that all happened in the first caution of the day and all that, or whether it's happened more recently to Beasley and he'd already used his fast repair, as you say, or whether, as you say, he'd forgotten. It's got to be one of the two, but I'm not sure which it is at this stage. So you might be wondering why they're all single file. When you are waved around, you go back of the longest line, tell the longest line. They can't obviously all do that, but the longest line is the inside line, and they're all in that one long line. So effectively, only Floyd and Youngblood are going to be. Oh, sorry, no, that's a lap car who are going to be side by side there. It's going to be John Edwards, who's alongside. So it is 16 on the lead lap. Sorry, I keep getting it wrong. John Edwards will also be joining them, and he will be on the outside line. Youngblood's going to be second, and Kandra's a long way back now because he pitted, thought he was free, I suppose, and he pitted. That's so Floyd is in the lead as he brings them to green, and it's not going to be green for very long. There's a spinner on the inside line. Looks like Matthew Kleckler has gone to the inside and spun. We stay green for the moment, though, because he spun below the apron, and so we stay green. Look at this. Lap cars, 4 wide, 3 wide. It's all happening as they chase Floyd, leading this race. Youngblood is in second, but he's buried in the pack.
Yeah, it's all over the place at the moment, isn't it? Kandra down there at P12. Trying desperately to have to try to get past all this traffic, all out of the place, of course, of those pit stops. Some drivers went in lap 62, 61, 59 there from Kenny. Just got a race at the moment, not knowing what's going to happen next, just to absolutely drive the pants off these ARCA cars.
They're already closing on the race leader. So this has been a caution that has really worked out for Youngblood, and I'm surprised that it didn't for Kandra. He elected to take a bit more fuel, I think. Oh no, he went to the very back, didn't he? Because he got the free pass. So actually, that's actually worked out really badly for him, because he dropped so far back. But anyway, he will work his way through, I'm sure, based on the speed he had earlier. Youngblood is really close to Floyd all of a sudden here, as so many lap cars are unlapping themselves from the race leader. So Jackson Pole at the moment has done it, I think. Who else has managed it here? This is Youngblood. I think he's just been re-lapped, has he there? Jackson Pole, not entirely sure at the moment whether he has or not. Doesn't help that car keeps disappearing.
No.
That makes my life very hard.
Yeah, that's Pole.
Who is that? It is Pole. So he's been re-lapped again, and Floyd is back leading the field again. But look at the points leader right in behind him.
Here he comes. Insert Jaws theme music. I do have to get that actually at some point, but here we go. He wants this race lead.
And look at how high Floyd keeps going here. It's an invitation. It's a red carpet being rolled out for the points leader at the moment. And after showing some real signs of wear and tear in that first long green flag run of the day, to those first green flag stops, a new set of tyres and suddenly a new bit of ambition for Wyatt Youngblood, and he's in the lead of this race by some way.
And Floyd has to be very careful, doesn't he, that he doesn't have Jackson Hole come around and put a lap on him. And it'll put a car between himself there and Youngblood. At the moment, it's not the case. Look at this. Throw a blanket over him there, you want?
Yeah, you can. Top, 3 wide, and there's going to be contact here. How have they got away with that? In towards turn 3. Only just, somehow, they managed to get clear of any incident. It's the battle for third place, effectively. Chronister involved in it, and there's lap cars everywhere as well, by the way. These are not all involved in the battle for position. Big hit on the wall. That's Trocky, I think, who hit the wall there. Another 3 wide moment we're looking at here if we're not too careful.
Where do you go?
Oh, Trocky! 3 wide, 4 wide. Just the 3 this time. Again, Trocky can't find his way through. This is absolute madness back here.
Yeah, but absolutely key concentration from these drivers. All over the shop, different strategies, of course, different pit stops that have happened before. Just trying to get an awareness of what's happening around them and try to get your way, navigate your way through as safely as possible as you want, because, you know, we're over halfway, my friend, with just shy of 60 laps to go. You want to get to the end of this race, and if you thought that pack was there, we've still got another one behind him too. And here he is. Here's the man that's been leading the majority of the race, now having to fight his way back up to get to the top. Kandra.
They're all getting close to the wall, time and again. Nick Kandra, though, is doing it pretty methodically here. That's Cormier and Baker who are just in front of us here. Cormier on the outside. Kandra running his line is just going to drive through anybody at that speed. Wow! Again close. The 10 car this time. The one very nearly involved, and that's a lap car again. Goodness me, that was super close. I can't actually see a 10 car. Maybe I'm seeing things, but anyway.
Tell them the timing tower.
Oh, right.
We have.
Yeah, that always helps. That's one of my favourite things. Anyway,
you got
Cormier.
No, you're not the only one that has a pet peeve with timing showing completely different than. Oh, hold on to it, son.
How are they getting away with this? It's unbelievable. This is Brent Easter, by the way, who after big damage earlier took a fast repair and is back on the lead lap, back in the game all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's why you're going to have that fast repair up his sleeve, because now he cannot afford to get into another wreck, because might be on the damage clock. But let's not commentate, curse him. Battle of the Canadians here too at the moment.
Yeah, Art Milne. It's roaring past Cormier, who doesn't seem to take off in these runs very well. We've seen a couple of them, in fairness, but the very start of the race and now this busy restart as well is not taken off particularly well. But Still running okay, I suppose. Just on the fringes of a top 10. Just over 50 laps to go, by the way. And Youngblood still leads over Floyd. They're still 3 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, but they're not too separated themselves. So interesting that the two leaders have really stayed very close together. I suspect that might be slightly because Youngblood's taking better care of his tyres this time, which I think was part of his undoing in the previous run.
Gotta take care of those boots. You've also got to take care of keeping it out of the fence as well, too. As Loomis did. Barely, but back to the front, as you mentioned. There it is. So Floyd's hanging in there with Youngblood, but you said Youngblood might not necessarily be just trying to get away that quickly. We'll see how smooth in, smooth out he is, actually up the road. You can see Floyd is kind of following him quite well. I'm not sure he's attacking him just yet. Not following his slipstream specifically. There's a little tank slapper into the fence there from Youngblood.
Floyd, yeah, just happy to ride along. 13 places so far. What an inspired strategy. We always say it's better to try and save fuel and go as long as you can in long form racing, whether that's on an oval or a road course, and that's exactly why. Catching a caution in one of these races, suddenly Floyd is a main contender for this race.
Absolutely. It's in a great position. He's up 13 places in this race as well. The pit stop strategy worked out absolutely brilliant for him under the caution. Didn't say much for the like of these drivers, especially Kandra, who's running down there just behind these drivers in P8. He's trying to fight his way back through. You can see the napper on the front of that car there. Tucks in behind, little wiggle at the moment, so got to make sure. He had to lift off a little bit there, otherwise would have been straight in the back of Baker. And AKA maybe straight into the fence here at Texas.
Kandra's just got that line sort of just off the white line, but not a high line particularly. He's got it absolutely locked so far in this race. What made him so difficult to overtake when he was leading. The key for him now is he gets super close through 3 and 4 again. Clearly just got a good car. He's got to get back to the lead somehow. That's the real key here for Kandra over the course of the next 50 laps or so, probably even less. You don't necessarily fancy him coming from behind to actually win this race late on with a late pass, but I think if he's leading late on, he's going to be really hard to pass.
Yeah, he's proven that, hasn't he? He's done his dress rehearsals over and over again. He knows how to defend. But this is a point where he has to prove how to get the overtakes done. At least if he feels it's hindering him a little bit, the race leader's pace at the moment, and on it. Going to have to start recalculating the strategy as well too, because 65% fuel capacity now ain't going to the end of this race with 49 laps to go. We didn't know approximately 30 or so laps on the tank that they have here this evening. Oh, they're squeezed.
And again, Kandra had to lift out of that to avoid the wall surrounding him too hard there. He very nearly got caught up with that. Trocky it was, who also had to sort of back out. Baker, the one doing the squeezing on the inside line of both of them. Kandra just had to put the brakes on and avoid a very precarious moment there.
This is where you got to have a steady head on your shoulders, isn't it? You got to keep your cool here. You can't get frustrated in there. You start getting frustrated as a driver. You drive frustrated, and then little mistakes start creeping in. He might be aware that he's a lot quicker than some of these other drivers up the road from him, but overtaking is not easy. And whoa! 88 might hit him. No, it won't. Oh!
Hard into the
Jackson.
wall. And we're under caution. And 88 just about gets avoided. Only just. Jackson Paul, who's already a lap down, is now not even going to be getting the free pass here. It's stopped through the quad oval and is the reason for the 5th caution of the night.
Well, we saw that in the live pictures, and we're going to see it again. How lucky was Elliott not to get clipped on that? Look at that. Might have actually
he did make contact with Paul, didn't he?
Yeah, might have just been a little bit of contact, but
but that bit there that you're talking about, when he comes back, is unbelievable. And 46, unfortunately, the front runner who was involved there. Again, do we have a 46, or have I got to work? Oh no, it was Jason Tockey. Sorry. We do indeed. He told us that before the race, obviously. Let's see the contact here from the air. see how much responsibility does Candra actually bear for this. To be fair, Paul's in the wall, and there's no contact at all. That is unbelievably close for Candra there. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Coke round moment, you'd have to say.
Very much so. Meantime, the drivers are coming round again, and all those on the lead lap who number still 16.
That fence just comes closer and closer and closer, doesn't it? At that point, you just try. You can't do much, can you? When the car's already got too much speed coming into that corner, you just have to sit there and just try to ease off the throttle a little bit. But you can't overturn. You can't overcorrect. You can't, you can't try to steer too much to the left. Otherwise, the rear is just going to go around on you anyway. You just basically have to glide into the wall. Try to be as graceful as possible. You know you're going to hate that impact, and then see how it pans out. Of course, at 200 miles an hour, it's not easy to avoid that as they all come in pit road.
So everyone's down on pit lane. Is anybody going to take no tyres or anything? Luke, no, sorry, Luke Cummins just coming to the end of his box. These guys leaving already, by the way. We're in for damage and so on. Youngblood's going to get out first after doing only... Chronister out first, sorry, after doing only tyres, maybe even only fuel. But Youngblood's out next, and everybody else is doing all 4 tyres, which... if they've got 2 or 3 tyre sets, it doesn't actually matter whether they were those who saved a set earlier or those who didn't. Absolutely take a set of tyres at this stage. There's only 44 laps to go.
And is that Mike there? No, I got confused. It looked like the 91 out the front there, didn't it? Who's the one that's currently?
Might be a lap car trying to get a lap back.
The lap car. I'm just trying to think who that is. It's the. That's John Edwards again. Remember, John Edwards has been up the front here. He started in that last green flag that we had, and he was alongside.
He'll get it back now, though. If he stays out here, he'll get it. He'll get it back. So yeah, there we go. He stays out, and so does. God, these numbers are annoying. Number 12. Oh, Chronister. Sorry, he's leading the race. Sorry.
Yeah, Chronister's leading.
I'm looking a long way down the field. He's leading. So Edwards will go around. There you go. So he's on the lead lap again. And that means, because Edwards is in 21st... Oh, sorry, he's now only 1 lap down rather than being 2. There are 17 drivers, though, 1 lap down. Or on the lead lap, rather. And Ryan Chronister will have the chance to lead. Now, Chronister, don't forget, is 4th place in points coming into tonight. So, big moment for him to try and stay in front of Youngblood here. And notice how, by the way, Floyd is up there in points as well, despite not having the greatest pace tonight. McCook has been up there previously, now laps down, 3rd in points. Candra, who I'd still call the race favourite at this stage, 5th in points coming into tonight.
Yeah, Candra's back up there, actually. 3rd and 4th, I think, currently at the moment. He's either 3rd or 4th as a double filing up, as you'd mentioned. Youngblood in a good position. He's essentially at the front, with Ryan as well. So we'll see how he gets his race launch off. Where's McCook? He's a lap down at the moment, running at P18. Jason.
Yikes.
Is also, where is Jason currently at the moment? I'm just looking. He's 13th place. He's on the lead lap.
He would have fast prepared that last caution, I would imagine. It's not the time in the race now to be shaving those seconds off under cautions like we were suggesting earlier. That was an early race strategy. This is the late stage of the game now as Chronister brings him into the restart zone. We're back underway at Texas. 43 laps to go.
Get up the pace, get the temperature back in the tyres. Don't do anything too crazy just yet. You've still got 43 laps to go. And that might equal another pit stop as well too, unless a long way along the line you could do a bit of fuel stretching, but I don't think at this pace you're going to get 3 wide.
3 wide, and Chronister's going to get swallowed up here very quickly. Richard May on the inside though might well take the lead. Youngblood is going to be stuck on the outside here with Chronister. He's got to make sure that doesn't become a pattern here and the others don't get through on him. Chronister very nearly towards him through the quad oval there, and we're going to see Candra now just looking for a way to navigate this. 2 drivers in front of you is always difficult to get the line you want quite. Now, does he switch to the very inside? Does he follow Youngblood? He follows the championship leader on the outside line here into 3 and 4.
That's the line he's been preferring, remember, for the majority of the race too. At least defensively. And he's going to have to look at using that in the attack. He should get the exit speed, you would imagine, here but he's got just not enough to tuck in front of the 12. So he's just going to stick to that high line. You can see the 10 also tucking in behind there. That's George. You have to really fight for these positions, don't you, currently at the moment? Might just have the nose ahead at the moment. Yes, he will. Bang. Finally, Elliot gets up a P3 because he wants to catch Youngblood and May in the lead.
Yeah, who are fighting between themselves with 40 laps to go as they go over the line. As you say, if there is a green flag run all the way to the very end, then this will require a pit stop, a green flag stop. You'd imagine there'll be a caution between now and then, though, and they'll be able to come in for the last time tonight and use those last set of tyres if you're in May's case, and the second last in the case of Youngblood and Kandra, but better to leave a set down on pit lane than go wanting at the very end of the race, which nobody is going to end up doing here. Look at the front three here. Back from May, who started in 4th position, is up 3 so far. Youngblood up 6 on where he qualified, a little bit lowly in 8th. And Kandra, who's had the best pace of anyone tonight, running in 3rd, looking for a way to get past the series points leader.
And Richard May, courtesy, I gave him a little selfie stick. We've got the GoPro on it, so he's hanging out the window for us and gets us a good little angle outside there of the 24 Toyota. As you're going to see that little battle between it. So Elliot's caught them now. Elliot's caught Youngblood, and he wants to challenge him at the moment. And that'll be good points for 2 of Elliot if he can get past Youngblood and finish this race ahead of him. It kind of feels like it's Elliot, because he put it on pole there. It was his race to win, isn't it? It's also his race to lose at the moment if he doesn't get back up there.
Yeah, there's not many of those points leaders who are really challenging Youngblood in this race right now, other than Elliot Kandra. I mean, it was a very similar situation last week at Richmond, where Youngblood wasn't necessarily, winning all the time, but, if his points rivals are not actually beating him and closing in, then he's going to have a great chance to seal it next week when we get to the penultimate round at Kansas. So it's a time in the season where they absolutely have to try and get closer. Here comes Kandra. Meantime, I'll get back to that. Inside of Youngblood. And he is one of those drivers who's got to gain points on him somehow. And he's moving to the inside to try and do just that right now. Off for 4. They're locked together with May, unsure where to place his car, who to put it in front of.
Yeah, he got it actually brilliantly. He used May as the toe on the inside there. So it didn't allow Youngblood to have the exit speed that usually you would get on that high side. So brilliantly timed from Kandra, and moves himself. He wants to get back up the front. I mean, you can see that, don't I? I just don't think he's been happy for the 09 at all to run anywhere else but P1. Yeah,
and when you've got a car like he has, why not? Because so good in clean air, so difficult to overtake. Kandra, it would be silly not to want to lead every single lap here tonight. Chronister's decision to stay out with I don't know whether he took 2 tyres or maybe none at all, but it's not looking like the best decision now. Luke Cormier gets past him for 6th as Kandra looks for the lead. To the inside through 3 and 4, not quite there.
This time around, he won't have that toe from anybody else because Richard May has to somehow go break the air and try to go on the inside or the outside on that one. So Richard May, I don't know if he's got... in fact, at the moment, he might have to start looking backwards again because here comes Youngblood.
Yeah, well... the difficulty, isn't it, when you're up front like this? You've got to temper your attempts for the lead with the wariness of what's behind you as well. And Kandra's now stuck on the outside through 3 and 4, which he likes a bit less. He doesn't mind that particularly, but I think wants free rein there on the inside to just run the line that he can. And they're both quicker than May, I think. Kandra gets back in front, by the way. Now maybe he's got to try and strike May in this one move. Can he do it? Coming off of 2 is George Kirafidis suddenly is back in this race again. Where's he come from? He's in 4th, and look at this, the run he's got on the points leader. White Youngblood just in front is not going to be challenged this time, but the 10 car's in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. He come back in there because he's got that nice toe. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't get Floyd joining him soon too. Oh, that's a hard lick into the fence.
Kandra, meantime, goes through into the lead. While everybody was hitting the wall, Kandra was taking the lead over the start-finish line. 32 laps to go, including this one. And he is at the front all over again.
He's back exactly where he can control the race, where he was comfortably controlling that race before. Only that one overtake we saw earlier, wasn't it? Somebody actually managed to get past him once he was leading this race. Let's see whether or not these drivers can manage to do that and make it a second person to beat him so far. on track, that is, of course, because we had the different strategies. Look at this in the background here.
Oh.
Floyd has caught up because of a little bit of mistake there of George hitting into the fence, so keep an eye out for the 11 Crunch car. He's led a couple of laps in this race. Who knows what it feels to be up front.
Vedas just initially had that bit of momentum that could have seen him get past Youngblood there, but didn't quite. And Floyd now is, as you say, in the game again. I don't know what's happened to him. Floyd didn't qualify very well down in 15th place and didn't race well initially, but that one caution, catching that one caution and getting to the end at the front of the field has given him a whole new lease of life here as May looks to try and get past Kandra again. Kurafidis and Floyd are side by side for 4th position, with Floyd on the outside, the high side, trying to squeeze Kurafidis, and that is not going to happen. He can't get through into 4th place just at the moment.
It's always very scary, isn't it, when you're coming up on the outside, especially the outside line like this. You watch. This is when that fence, that wall starts to come out. He's sticking to the middle there, comes out there. You got to know when to turn that steering wheel just enough to allow the car to have the exit momentum, the exit speed, without it sliding too much into that fence. And he has got the job done. Moves his way up 11 positions into P4, the number 11 car.
Indeed. Moving on up and trying to at least limit the damage that Youngblood could do to him in terms of points tonight. They're currently 106 apart, those two. McCook, by the way, tied on points with Floyd coming into tonight, but very much like to dip that deficit below 100. By the way, there are still 24 cars running in this race, although John Edwards has been in for nearly 5 minutes, so you can discount him now. And to be fair, it looks like Truckee and Stewart are out the race, so that will give 21 running. But in this point system, you can lose 75 points from 1st to 21st. So that's the scale of this at the moment for Youngblood. It looks like 106 points is a massive advantage, but when 175 points are given for the race win, you start to understand this is far from over.
Very punishing, isn't it? You know, get yourself good results constantly each week. That's for sure. Jackson Poole comes in the wrong way. Don't think that's the way he exit the pit lane. Well, he's not in yet. Now he's in.
Poor Jackson Poole. Be wishing you didn't catch that on camera, but there it is.
Oh, I didn't.
For everyone to see.
Gotcha. Smile. You're on TV.
Every time Kurafidis has seen that momentum that he built up really nicely early on in this run go away. And Floyd and Youngblood. Oh, yeah. Youngblood nearly in the fence, and Floyd's up to 3rd.
Yeah, Floyd's absolutely flying at the moment. These drivers did take tyres on their last pit stop as well, so at least the top 9 have in this race. Do they have an extra set available, Ewan, down there for their final pit stop coming up soon?
Everybody does have at least one set. Some of them have 2. And we'll be wondering why they skipped out on tyres first time down pit lane. But at the time, it did certainly make sense. I certainly agreed with it. But now it may be less so. Youngblood starting to see momentum go the wrong way. Takes a big risk here. Hitting in a good few laps before they have to. I would say at least 10 laps before they have to.
He's got a couple of people with him, but that's good. That might be a key that they can stick together, work together. Sometimes you have to do that if you're other drivers, but not necessarily teammates or whatever, but sometimes if they're in the chat as well too, in Discord and stuff like that, the radio chat together, they might be saying, okay, well, guess what? We have the rest of the field coming in now. So race leaders coming in.
So they're responding to the championship leader, and that's the power of the race, the championship leader, isn't it? The points leader. He can pull others onto pit lane, whereas a lower competitor there might not be tempted. The 82 car in the fence in the background coming into pit lane. That is not good at all for Jaden McGowan, who hits the front end. If he's got his fast repair, you might as well use it now because you're at the end of the race anyway.
Yeah.
Brief blink, but up on the...
There's a blink for everybody.
Yeah. He is up on the right-hand side there for Kandra, and he will go up on the left as well. So if I were these guys, I would carry on as far as you can go. Take the risk. Hope for a caution, because for the most part, other than, all of them actually are outside the top 5 in the championship, you might as well take a risk to try and win a race.
You got to risk it for the biscuit, as I say. A little bit of leaking. I hope my internet, cross fingers, holds out for this one. Been so good, so far so good. That's not the drivers that are doing it. That's me. I'll be okay there for a second. So there's the
That's
drivers
all right,
currently at the moment, as you said. These drivers have, last time they come down lap 89 or lap 90 or lap 88. So you have to go down to Elliot Kandra as the one that can make it to the end. These drivers can't, but they'll be throwing that caution, as you mentioned, wasn't it?
And I am. I must say, I'm surprised everybody followed Youngblood like that, and in comes Baker.
Yeah.
So half and half strategy, really. I really don't get the point of that, but in for the 77, Zach Baker, and that allows Matthew Kleckler to get out front. So he's really the only one of the sort of top contenders, if you like, who has stayed out here. The others, like Keyser and Loomis, have had trouble tonight and are up a lot of places here by running up the field. But Kleckler look at that. Lap 89 he last stopped. He could go past lap 120, and yes, he might end up pitting under green with 10 laps to go. However, he has taken the risk that could see him leading going on to a late race restart, and that's a risk personally I'd want to take.
Yeah, why not? He wouldn't be thinking about himself potentially in a race win 10 laps early, would you? Now, it looks like he might be letting some of those the quicker cars through. Of course, they're just coming out. Yeah, that's Kandra.
So he's no longer going to be the leader on and so this is where the diminishing returns come in. So this is how lucky Floyd got earlier, and now Kleckler has decided to come in. So he knows that he's not going to trap all the big contenders one lap down. Even if there is a caution, he's not going to be able to pit and come out and lead a restart. So he thinks, well, now I'm only shooting myself in the foot. The sort of risk versus reward has just tipped a little bit further towards risk, and therefore comes into pit lane.
Ryan comes down as well too. So it just leaves number 36 here at the moment.
Oh!
Oof, yeah, exactly.
Really got drove into there.
That's Andrew Floyd trying to get his way past him. Clearly quicker with the fresher boots. And this is the point too, isn't it? If you Loomis, you're kind of going to have to think about coming in to kind of cover off that. Because the longer you stay out, the longer you're just going to get all these other cars that are coming through behind him pretty quickly at this point too.
Yeah, maybe. He might decide at this point, I've started, I might as well finish, and who can blame him for that in this race? Elliot Kandra then is going to be the race leader when this all shakes out. Then it's going to be Richard May. White Youngblood will be third. Just behind him is Zach Baker. They are fighting for a legitimate place now, which would be third. Then Luke Cormier, 2 seconds behind, fighting legitimately with Andrew Floyd for fifth. Frank Marchese, Ryan Cronister and George Fidis. This battle would be for seventh as things stand when it all shakes out a little bit later on. So the point seeder's risk didn't really work, but he has secured up third place at least, if he can hold on from Baker in the 77 car.
16 laps to go. Make that 15 now, so leaders come through. Just behind them, actually, of Loomis. So this is a nice little battle that you're seeing in the pictures for 10th, 11th and 12th, which essentially might be moving up about 3 spots, I'd say. These other drivers coming.
They look like they are going to absolutely go as far as possible. You know, oh dear, in the wall, right in front of Kurfidis and Cronister side by side battling, and Marchese is the one who was in the wall. He's battling with them too, and it's the Kurfidis car that goes to the back behind Cronister, and Marchese gets away with that somehow. Despite hitting the wall, he's still holding these two back.
There he went, yahoo! Into the fence.
Very good.
Michael Cole comes in. And perhaps for the last time tonight. He'd be hoping last time tonight. Unless he's got a fresh set down there later on. If there's late caution, he'll might have some extra boots to get some grip there. Loomis still going to stay out, as you said. But he's probably dropping himself at least a second a lap currently at the moment to all of those drivers in the top 10. The Cook comes in. Oh, another spitter into pit lane entrance.
Another one. And by the way, this has been a bad points night suddenly for McCook, who was knocking on the door of a race lead at some stage. He's tied second with Andrew Floyd in points coming in tonight, and at the moment he is going to finish multiple laps down. the end. And obviously, you don't get anything taken away from you for finishing laps down, but you do you do feel the race results going the wrong way. Baker, meantime, gets past Youngblood, so the points leader down to 4th place, which is good news for Elliot Kandra, meantime. That would be a 15-point gain for the driver of the 09, and he would go into the penultimate round of the season just over 100 points back.
Hang in there, Internet. Hang in there. It just looks like...
Sound okay for me, actually, by the way. So,
it appears it might just be my connection to iRacing server, because everything... I haven't dropped a single frame here on the streaming services, and nor have any to your connection or anything like that, so that's an iRacing thing.
Unusual.
So,
Loomis mid-time in. Oh, another one!
Another one bites the wall.
Dear me. And again, got your faster pair, might as well use it. We're in the last 10 laps of the race, but it won't have done too much damage anyway. There goes Youngblood again, looking to win back 3rd. And another 5 points, by the way, on the line for battles inside the top 6. So worth making. Well, all points are worth trying to regain here, but Youngblood's fighting hard here for 3rd.
I'm just wondering, because I'm on Youngblood's car that it's doing that. I said he'd be doing that with some of the other cars. We'll see anyway. There's a couple of blinkers there. Interesting. Baker's still trying to hold him off there, Ewan.
Yeah, 8 to go.
Oh, no.
And they get to the line.
Oh, no, that's not real. That's
dear,
not
oh dear,
damage.
That's
That's iRacing trying to predict where the car is and says, hey, it's damaged in the wall, but it's not. Thankfully for the drivers.
There he goes. Youngblood through again. He squeezes up in front. That was tight. The more they do this, by the way, look at all those guys in the background. Cormier, Floyd, Marchese, Chronister, Kerafidis, they're all in that shot there, and they're all charging onto these guys. I know there's not very many laps left, but the longer this battle goes on, the more Youngblood has to fight off people, effectively.
Yes, sir. Come on, hang in there. Come on. Hang in there, server. There's Kandra back into the lead of this race, and he's got a bit of a comfortable gap now, doesn't he? About 4 seconds or something like that.
I don't know whether the drivers are saying the same thing.
I hope not. Yeah, it's a possibility of could be a iRacing server issue. As I said, it couldn't be my internet specifically, because everything's fine. Green across the board, everything for streaming.
Youngblood and Baker are not finding it too difficult to fight with one another, to be fair, so it might not be, but just a theory to put out there. Cormier not too far behind them here, but laps are running out. 6 to go at the line. Youngblood's been overtaken again by Baker, who has had a real resurgence towards the end of this race, as Zach Baker qualified in 7th, but has been away from the cameras for most of the night. But it doesn't matter if you are up the front at the end, and that's exactly where the 77 finds himself now.
Yeah, it'll be a great little battle between these two drivers towards the end. Youngblood just wants to try to get as many points as possible, knowing that he still has a good amount of points there, as you can see in the standings. Knowing that Floyd's behind him, that's a good thing. McCook's behind him, that's a good thing. Ryan, the only one that's not behind him, of course, is Elliot Kandra. Anybody else there in the top 10 championship standings, he doesn't have to worry too much about.
Yes, just the way he's operated this season, really. Not quite winning every round by any means, but certainly distancing enough of his championship rivals, enough of the rounds. And that's what we're seeing here as well. Kandra, May and Baker is only one red alert, really. And that's... Oh, he's in the fence! Youngblood in the fence off of 4. And here comes Luke Cormier, meantime, in the background. Or has he been in the fence? No, that was the other lap car, sorry. Or is it Cormier? It is Luke Cormier. I don't think he's got a front end anymore. Based on the... or is that his livery that I was seeing there a couple of moments ago?
No, he's got no front end, you're right. Yep.
He followed him in the fence at turn 4. He had a chance to move up to 4th position in the final 4 laps of this race, but he's been in the fence and he's got no front bumper anymore.
He's got a lot of pressure from these drivers behind him as well too. Floyd, Frankie, Ryan, they're going to be coming thick and fast here, but time is on his side. 3 laps to go. Cormier just needs to hold on here at the moment. Don't think how much downforce is going to really be costing him. But with just shy of 30-second lap times, you're going to hold on for about a minute and change.
Oh dear. This is bad news for Cormier. Oh, and he's going to get overtaken. He's going to lose his top 5. And by the way, Youngblood's tyres have really gone off here at the end, so he could have had 4th, but he's not even going to get a top 5. Luke Cormier follows him into the wall through turn number 4. 2 to go for Marchese to hold on to this top 5 finish.
Yeah, a little bit of late bit of drama here in this race. That's pretty wide at the moment there for the 11. You're going to have to tuck in, son. Andrew Floyd. Last lap of the race. And we're going to go to our race leader now.
That's the same animation as you used for a caution. I thought we were going to get a late one there, but no. Kandra is going to be safe. He's going to get to the last lap, and he's going to have dominated tonight. Again, he's only going to get 15 points for his efforts, closer to Youngblood, but he will be the new driver in second place in these point standings, and he will be the man with the momentum in this intermediate swing. The Oak House Racing ARCA Championship from Texas is won by Elliot Kandra at a canter, nearly 5 seconds in front of May at the finish of 200 miles tonight. He was the favourite going into that last restart. He had the best speed, and he executes with a win.
Yeah, you just kind of had to put your money on him, really, at the end of the day, didn't you, to get this race win? Because got it on pole, had the speed there, had to do a lot of defensive driving, and then at the end of this race, had to do a lot of offensive driving to get overtakes done and get himself back to the front, where he loved it and loved to be during this race.
He's now 106 points behind the championship leader, Wyatt Youngblood. He moves in front of Ryan Chronister, Jason McCook and Andrew Floyd at the end of this race here tonight, where he's celebrating unusually on the front straight. He's losing this, by the way. It's about the only thing he has lost tonight. Here we go. They're finding it difficult to light each other up now, but Kandra indeed moves up to second place in the point standings going into the next round of the championship. I think Floyd will be then next in front of Chronister, then McCook, by the way, but we'll see about that. Elliot Kandra wins by 4.9 seconds in the end, ahead of Richard May, with Zach Baker leading the charge behind. He held on from Wyatt Youngblood, who also fell off towards the end a little bit, but Frank Marchese, Ryan Chronister, Andrew Floyd couldn't get close in the end. George Gerfelix was at the back of their group in the end too, in 8th. Matthew Kleckler 9th, with Carson Kenny running up the top 10. Jaden McGowan was 11th, and Luke Cormier dropped to 12th place on the last lap there. Shame for him. 1 lap down for Bryn Easter, Ryan Keyser, James Loomis, Jason McCook, who will lose lots of points in the championship and maybe drop even to 5th. Art Milne was also a lap down with them. James Burns 4 down, Michael Cole 6 down, John Edwards rounded up the top 20, and those who didn't really get to the finish in any sort of reasonable fashion, Ricky Langton Jr., Jackson Pohl, Jason Trocchi, Mike Stewart, Wesley Beasley and Chris Darkwood, who didn't start the race at the beginning tonight. Let's have a chat, shall we, to our race winner tonight from Texas, Elliot Kandra, who joins us now. Elliot, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Congratulations on winning at Texas tonight. We can see you enjoying some donuts out there, well deserved as they are. It looked to us like you had the best car speed all night. Was it how it felt in the race car as well?
There was the point where we got stuck back in traffic. It didn't feel very good, but other than that, yeah, it felt really good. It felt kind of tight though through 1 and 2. 1 and 2, it felt like everybody was struggling though, and we kind of just did the best of the bad, I guess.
In terms of working your way through, when you knew that you had to get to the front there to sort of get your car into the best position again, and you were leading more often than not tonight, 77 laps out of 134. But what was it like trying to make those passes? How difficult was it, knowing that that was the more difficult part of the day before you could get out front again?
It was a little frustrating at points. It was a bit difficult to make a few of those passes, but it was kind of just aggressive patience. There was a lot of times where there was a few guys that were racing side by side, and you could have taken them 3, but kind of just didn't want to put myself in that kind of spot to potentially screw our race over. So kind of had to methodically but aggressively at the same time make your way through up there.
Well, congrats on doing just that, and we believe moving up to second place in the point standings tonight with a victory. Congrats on that, and thanks for chatting to us.
Appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Elliot Kandra, winner tonight, and as I say, on rough maths, second in calculations for the points. Richard May, second place here tonight, and joins us as well. Richard, welcome in. Good to have you with us. It's second place finished for you tonight. Up and down a little bit throughout the day, and up a couple on where you qualified as well. How pleased are you to be second tonight?
To tell you the honest truth, I'm very pleased. This is actually one of my worst racetracks, so to come here and finish second, that's really good. I'm really happy with that.
Is it one of your worst racetracks because it's intermediate and that's a weakness, or is it this specific one because we've got 2 intermediates to end the season coming up now?
It's this specific one due to the configuration. It's just a weird track to try to figure out, but tonight I've started figuring things out a little bit, so I'm starting to get a little bit better here.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you elected to take tyres every time in a pit stop, which I think gave you one less set than everybody else at one stage, but it didn't end up mattering because only 5 sets were really needed, and that's what we all used in the end. What was the thinking behind changing tyres so often here tonight, even when, especially early on in this race, we didn't do too many laps in a green flag run and actually on those tyres?
I actually did not take any tires on the first stop. I only took fuel only. Now, every other stop after that, I took tires, and then the final stop, I took 2 tires, because I was like, there was like 40-some laps to go. I forgot how many there was, and we still couldn't make it on fuel, so I'm like, all right, if we split it right in half and take 2 tires, I feel like this is going to be the right call, and so that's what I ended up doing, and it paid off for a second-place finish.
I'm probably getting you confused with somebody else, but that's fine. Well, congratulations, nevertheless, on finishing second tonight, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks very much. That is Richard May finishing in second place here tonight from Texas, in front of Zachary Baker, who also finishes in the top 3. Zach, welcome in. Congratulations on the top 3 tonight. I must say, we didn't see an awful lot of you until the very end, when suddenly you were fighting with Wyatt for that 3rd position. Just tell us about that fight towards the end there, and how you managed to get yourself into a position for a top 3.
So I think all the top 3 took 2 tires. I had a really good car on the long run. I'm really good at saving tires. So it didn't really, the middle part of the race didn't really lean into that with the just random sporadic yellows that we were getting. But once we actually got long runs and I was able to split that last run, get 2 tires, get up there, I was able to drive away from Wyatt, who I think had 4, not 100% sure, but it was a really good on the tires, so that's really how.
He did have 4 tyres, you read it correctly. Okay. How did you sort of expect to go around here tonight? It's a unique mile and a half, I would say, unique intermediate with such a wide opening turn 1 and 2, and then a little bit different, a little bit more conventional through 3 and 4. How were you expecting to go compared to how you actually went and got a top 3 tonight?
No, really good. I practiced this track a lot. I really like turn 1 and 2. I think the entire lap is based off of exiting turn 2. So just being a little bit easier into the corner and then better get the run off of it, I think is just the way to do it. And it really fits how I like to drive, how I like to race.
Well, congrats on a 3rd place run tonight, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Yep, appreciate it.
Thanks very much. That is Zach Baker finishing in 3rd place from Texas tonight. Well, that's just about it from us. A good race, I thought, tonight, because I think 5 cautions, if I'm counting correctly, which is not too bad of a number at all. And we got 2 runs of green flag pit stops and some good green flag racing in the meantime as well. I thoroughly enjoyed our first of a mile and a half triple header we've got coming up to end the season.
Yeah, and what an impressive drive there from Elliot Kandra. And he's got a smart head on his shoulders, isn't he? Because he called it aggressive patience. That's the way he drove tonight. That's a great way I'd say to sum up the 0-9s racing mentality, Ewan.
Yep, it's a very good way indeed. It was a good drive as well from Elliot Kandra. Absolutely dominant tonight. Had the best car and won in Texas. Next week, we make our way a bit further north to Kansas for the penultimate round of the season, 7th of December. We'll be live same time, same place with that race, 200 miles on the clock again. I very much hope to see you all then. because there could be a championship settled. We'll have all the maths across for you. But if White Youngblood gains 30-ish points or so on his 4 closest championship rivals, headed by Elliot Kandra, who won tonight, then he could be champion with a round to go. But that's all still up in the air, of course. Make sure you join us again next week. Pleasure to have your company tonight. I've been Leary alongside Tim Biggles in the commentary box. We'll be back in Kansas in 1 week's time. Goodbye for now.